Hi, everyone. Welcome in. We're going to give everyone just a few more minutes to join this next snippet for MindSpark Learning. Hope everyone is having a great Friday wherever you might be. We do have quite a bit of content to share, so we're going to do our best to get through this as quickly as possible. We are going to have a breakout room near the end of this where you'll get a chance to connect with other people in the snippet. And if you guys have any questions about any of the sports tech that we're discussing, please do feel free to leave your questions in the chat room for Mike. And we will try and get to as many questions as possible during this. So feel free to, participate. If you see any sports tech that really catches your eye that you're interested in, this is your opportunity to kind of pick our brains a little bit as well. So Mike, just for time purposes, I think I'm going to go ahead and get started.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay. So welcome in, everyone. My name is Justin Goldman, and again, I'm being joined by Mike Trujillo. Both of us are part of MSL Capita, which is a new program at MindSpark Learning that is dedicated to pursuing community resilience through sport. So we started this program back in December of 2019. And we're really excited to kind of merge education and professional development with sports coaching and athletic development as well. So this snippet is really focused on emerging technology in sports. And we're going to kind of go through 5 or 6 different categories that are all focused on athletic development for coaches, for organizations in sports at all levels. Again, my name is Justin Goldman. I'm the Director of Athletic Partnerships. My email is here on the screen, and we're being joined by Mike Trujillo, who is the Senior Director of IT, and his email is here as well. So definitely, if you have any questions about technology in any of the categories that we discuss, feel free to ask those questions in the chat room. So we have 2 main objectives for this snippet. The first one is to show some examples of emerging sports performance technology and how they work. And the second objective is to actually share a bunch of resources that you can start using today in order to help your athletes or your sports organization gain an edge on training, learning, and overall sports athletic development. So to kind of start off, we wanted to give you guys an example of a really simple, free to use, interactive experience that also kind of challenges your athletes' reaction time. So Mike is going to share this link in the chat room, or you can type it in yourself if you'd like. It's a really simple test, and it's going to test your reaction speed. And this is an example of gamification. And gamification is something that we're seeing really at all levels of sports, whether it's interacting with fans or it's engaging fans in an arena or sheer athletic development. Gamification is basically taking game-like elements that you see in a lot of popular video games and using it to challenge athletes in different interactive ways. So go ahead and take like 2 minutes to test this out. It's a really simple test, but it's also really fun and engaging. And it's got some great analytics, and it's also a great example of AI, artificial intelligence, which is a real big key in, athletic development and, measuring athletic success and performance. And you're going to see how AI is kind of integrated into all the different categories that we're going to discuss over the next half an hour. So we'll give you guys just a couple of minutes to test this out. There's a whole bunch of really cool interactive games like this out there on the web, especially on mobile devices. They are very effective. They're, like I said, very challenging. And they also, give your students and your athletes a chance to challenge themselves right from their homes or from their mobile devices.
And feel free to share your results too in the chat.
Yep. I was going to say, if you want to share your results, I usually end up getting around 400 milliseconds, which is, I'm 38 years old, and it usually ends up being around the reaction speed of a 30-year-old, which I wish I could say it was better, but the older you get, the slower your reaction speed gets. But everyone's different, and so this can just be a really easy way to challenge your athletes and to keep their reaction speeds and their reactions sharp during the COVID outbreak. Are we seeing some results pop up?
Like Michael got 559. We got Dana, 27-year-old.
Nice.
And on my first attempt, I think I got 45-year-old. So I had to do it a
Yeah.
couple more times.
Yeah, and it's usually, I mean, sometimes you're battling between trying not to over anticipate. You're supposed to wait until that stop sign, pops up and do it naturally, but there's always this inclination to want to anticipate and try and guess when that stop sign is going to pop up so you get a faster time.
Looks like everybody's doing really well, though. We got some 28-year-old, 31, we got 39.
Cool. Great. So again, just a really simple, easy, free, accessible way to, kind of showcase some gamification and some elements of artificial intelligence, and something that you can share with your athletes and students, again, to challenge their reaction speeds. So this kind of gets into the first component that we wanted to share, the first category that we wanted to share with everyone, which is just this concept of brain games. And brain games are so popular right now because mobile gaming is one of the most accessible elements of athletic development from home. And so with these mobile apps that are leaning on AI and this concept of gamification to improve cognitive skills and decision making, again, it's something that's extremely accessible, can be sourced from anywhere in the world. And again, there's just a really wide net of these different types of games and challenges that you can play. For example, one of the ones that we've used at MSL Capita that we really like and is extremely popular right now is called Mamba Rise. So again, with all of these different sources that we're sharing with you today, we're going to provide that website link at the bottom that you can see in that green bar. So Mamba Rise is extremely popular, gaming app that challenges athletic skill and cognitive development. And it's also one that was popularized by the late Kobe Bryant. So Kobe Bryant was the kind of mastermind behind this concept that, athletes can actually develop their skills, their cognitive skills, their decision making, even their visual intelligence, not by actually having to be on the court or on the field, but just through simple mobile apps like this. And there's a free element to this app, and there's also like the paid element where you can actually go in, choose a couple of different sports, and then you're challenged to make decisions against a really powerful AI that is also challenging you at the same time. So there's a competitiveness to this application, and there's also the cognitive skill development application as well. So it's a really good example of not just AI and gamification, but this concept of brain games and mobile apps. Again, very accessible, something that you can start using right away, and definitely very effective. The next one that we really like to use, and one that I really lean on as an ice hockey goaltender, is what we call concentration grids. And again, the link is there for you at the bottom of this screen. And this one's interactive as well. It's basically a panel of squares numbered randomly from 00 to 99. And there's a timer that's incorporated here. And when you're ready to start, the timer will begin. And you have to go through and actually click 00 in numerical order, starting at 00 all the way to 99 as fast as possible. So this is really challenging not just your reactions and your speed, but it's also challenging your cognitive flexibility, and it's also challenging your focus and your concentration, obviously. So again, really simple, really effective. We even see this being used at the professional level with NHL goaltenders, and they're constantly trying to beat their best time. So again, that's where the component of gamification comes in. Because it's timing you and you're trying to get the fastest speed possible, it's a really good challenge and a really great way to interact with your athletes, have them compete against each other, and see who's got the quickest time to get through the whole panel and X out all those numbers. So the next category that we wanted to get into is wearables. Wearables is a legitimate multi-billion-dollar industry full of watches like the iWatch. They even have rings now that can measure different biometrics, and clothing apparatus that measures and monitors body movement and biomechanics. So a couple examples of wearables that are really popular right now. The first one that we really like and that we suggest you try out is called Player. And again, the link to the website is at the bottom of the screen here. And this is just a really simple, very small vest that you wear on your body. And as you can see, there's this measuring device on the back, and it's going to be able to measure a whole bunch of different attributes of a player's abilities and how they perform. So it's going to measure a lot of different things like acceleration, heart rate, and a bunch of other, again, biomechanical elements that is going to provide data for the coaching staff and allow you to measure, workload and help you manage, how your athletes are performing and at what rate. The next one that we think this one may not be as accessible. This is a little bit more of an expensive device, but these are called Tobii glasses, and Tobii is spelled with 2 I's. So it's TOBIIPro.com. What these glasses do is these glasses actually measure your eye movement. So these are eye tracking devices. And as you can see, this ice hockey goaltender in Sweden has the glasses under their goalie mask. And so this allows a coach or a sports organization to actually monitor real time where the goalie's eyes are looking. And for a goaltender, visual acuity is extremely important. Like, the better that a goalie can see the puck, the better chance he or she has to stop the puck. So in order to really measure how good a goalie's visual acuity system is, you can use this technology that is definitely leaning on AI. It's got sensors right in the middle, as you can see above the nose. And that sensor is actually measuring and tracking the eye movement as the puck is moving along the ice. So another example of a wearable that is definitely a little bit higher tech than maybe the player vest that you wear, but is still trying to accomplish the same thing, which is to provide data and analytics for coaching staff and for the athlete themselves so that they can measure their results and continue to improve in this very key element of goaltending, which is being able to track pucks and see where the puck is going on the ice when it's moving at a very fast rate. So after we, go to wearables, the next step is actual motion sensors. And motion sensors are also wearable devices. Not always. Sometimes they can be embedded in cameras. But motion sensors are just tracking devices that generate data in order to provide more feedback, but in real time. So instead of having to download a whole bunch of data and then process it, these motion sensors will actually provide real-time feedback in the moment. So one of the great examples of motion sensors that are being used right now is with a company called Blast Motion. Again, I highly suggest you reach out and check out the website. This not only has applications for baseball, like you're seeing here with this little tracking device and motion sensor on the butt end of the bat, but they also have a component for golf as well. And it's very popular with golfers because they can put this motion sensor and this device on the butt end of their putter, on the butt end of the drivers as well, basically any golf club that's in their bag. And as you can see with this mobile application that's connected to the sensor, it's providing a whole bunch of data that's really relevant to the athlete and, again, the coaching staff as well. So it's going to be measuring swing speed. It's going to be measuring the rate of movement, the angles of your bat, the angle of the golf club, all this really important information that more and more athletes are starting to utilize in order to measure their performance and improve their performance on a daily basis. And then the next one that we wanted to showcase, because we've actually used this in our sports lab at MSL Capita, is a company called Notch Pioneer. And the website is wearnotch.com. And again, this is a really accessible device. You can order these. I think this set of 6 motion sensors that you can see here in this little pod is about $300. And what's great about these little motion sensors is that they come with these elastic bands. And the elastic bands can be wrapped around your arms. They can be wrapped around your shoulders. They can be wrapped around the legs, even the waist of the body. And what these sensors will do is they will connect to this application, how you can see here on your mobile device, and it will create your own unique 3D avatar. So you can see the white figure on the screen that the person is holding here. And as these sensors get engaged with the application, as you do your unique or your specific movements, it can be any movement whatsoever. It's going to measure, angles of your joints, of your limbs. It's got accelerometers in it as well. So it's going to measure the rate at which you move and the degree of the angles of those joints as well. And it will provide some great feedback, and you can record those videos on your mobile device and basically store them for use at any time. So you can go back and look at, movement in one phase, make your adjustments or make your coaching advice to that athlete, and then see how they make those changes in real time. Mike, is there anything you want to add about these? Because I know you've had a chance to use them as well.
Yeah, I think they're great just to break down so it'll actually break down the specific angle of, like, say, a pitcher. Wherever the arm angle is, it'll break it down the exact angle. And like Justin said, with the acceleration and the force. And you could actually add up to 12 notch sensors onto the body. So basically any angle, any joint you can track, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah, and these are really cool. And again, it's very simple to set up. It doesn't take a lot of expertise or technical savvy to, get them paired to the application. It's just like you're pairing a headset with Bluetooth. It's the same sort of thing. The sensors will speak to the mobile device. The mobile device will connect to those sensors. You have to do a little bit of calibration, but it's a very simple process. They provide the instructions. Everything's very simple to use. And again, these are things that you can buy right now and you can test and tinker with and toy with. And we had a lot of fun in our lab, just trying different movements and seeing what the avatar was doing. And it's extremely responsive. Like as the athlete is moving, the avatar is moving as well. And the other great thing too is that the avatar is actually rotatable. So it moves in a 360-degree realm. So you can actually turn the avatar around, see the body from different angles, and be able to make more calculated measurements and more feedback for your athlete, again, in real time.
Right. And I think one cool thing to point out with all these tools that Justin's gone through is that it's all instant feedback. So as long as you have the app on your tablet or your phone, you get the feedback instantly. So you don't really have to wait for an upload time. You can break it down with your athlete, with your coaches right then and there.
Right. So whether you're on a baseball field or a basketball court or even a hockey rink, as long as you've got Wi-Fi and you've got that connection, even through 4G and soon to be 5G, you can still get that instantaneous feedback and share it with the athlete as he or she is going through the training or going through that practice session. So the next step is to actually start getting into what we call a simulated reality. And the first step to that is called AR, which is short for augmented or mixed reality. And augmented reality will actually take real life video and overlay data on top of it, utilizing AI screens and mobile devices. This is becoming more and more popular because we've seen it for years in traditional sports broadcasting. So if you're watching a baseball game on TV, one of the most common ways that you see augmented reality is when a pitch is thrown and you see the trail or the path of the baseball, the spin of the ball, and of course the speed of the throw. That information gets thrown on top of your TV screen instantaneously. So that's like one example of AR that's being used right here and now. And a couple of examples that we wanted to share with you. One that's really popular right now is a company called Dribble Up. Okay. And Dribble Up is great because, again, it's extremely affordable. I think the soccer ball, and they also have a basketball, is only $50. So it's something that kids can buy, families can buy. It makes a great gift for, the holidays or for a kid's birthday or an athlete's birthday. And this is so great because the technology has AI integrated into the ball. So there's sensors in the soccer ball or the basketball that will speak to, again, the mobile application. And how it works is that when the athlete starts the application on their mobile device, it will actually show this little like blue circle around the ball. And then the athlete will actually follow the commands and the prompts on the mobile device. So the mobile device will actually have a set of predetermined drills or practices or different sequences that you either have to dribble or use your hands or feet, depending on if it's a basketball or a soccer ball. And then that allows the athlete to get that instant real-time feedback and see how they should be dribbling or how they should be manipulating the ball, again, in real time with data connected to that as well. Another example of this that's just specific for basketball is called Home Court. So again, another great resource that's very, very accessible, very affordable. It's being used by basketball players at all levels. And as you can see here, the mobile device, how this works is that it actually tracks the basketball as you're moving around the court. And you can see on the top right of this mobile device, there's an overlay that's showing you when the athlete has made baskets and when they have missed. So now you're getting exact feedback on misses and makes without having to measure it separately or have a coach, jot down where the shots are coming from. So this isn't just locating where the shots are being taken from, but as you can see, if you look right on the rim and the net, you can see the little 4 white frames of the square. The app is actually triggering and targeting the hoop and the basketball at the same time. And that's what's allowing it to, get these measurements. As you can see, it's also measuring the release angle of the shot. And again, providing so much valuable data that can be tracked, measured, and used to enhance performance as time goes on. So it's really amazing what just simple augmented reality can provide for sports performance and development, and just really take your coaching and your athletes, the interaction and the relationship you have with your athlete, to the next level. So again, we're going to try and speed up here because it's already 10:25. So we want to make sure and try and stay on time as fast as possible, as much as possible. But 360-degree cameras is a great way to take AR to the next level. And what makes 360-degree cameras so amazing is that you can actually record first-person video and then use it to install that video into something like YouTube VR to help coaches see what their athletes are seeing. So a lot of times in competition and with different sports, the coach is watching from the sideline and the athlete is making these really instantaneous decisions, and they're challenging. And athletes and coaches are always trying to communicate and get on the same page. And coaches are asking, well, why did you make this decision? Why did you go this way when you should have gone this way? And the athlete is always trying to get the coach to understand, well, I made this decision because of this reason or that reason, or because this defender showed this signal or that signal. And using something like a 360-degree camera in a practice, you can start to record from first-person perspective what that athlete is actually seeing in real time, and then sharing that video in a 360-degree view using YouTube VR. The coach can start to see the same perspective of the athlete, and that can really help bridge that communication gap and help coaches understand why players make certain decisions. And again, 360-degree cameras, maybe if you've never used one before, maybe you're thinking, okay, this is probably a really expensive technology and maybe not be that accessible. Well, the great thing about 360-degree cameras is that they're so popular that you can actually purchase one for under $100. And they're very, very efficient, and they have these great cameras on them that are very high powered, and they're really easy to use. So you can see an example of one here. And we didn't provide a link, but again, you could just do a simple Google search for 360-degree camera, and find a whole bunch of them.
Right. And I just want to point out too, with all these 360 cameras, again, instant feedback again. So just like we talked about before, if you have the app on your phone, you can instantly start dragging the screen around to see different perspectives from the player's view.
Right. And so this gets into our last component before we go into this short breakout room, which is virtual reality. And virtual reality is definitely the new frontier of athletic performance and development, because it is a very immersive experience that will offer a deeper simulated training experience through wearing an actual headset. So one great example of VR that's being utilized at the NFL level and at all levels of football is called Striver. And I really suggest you guys check it out because it's unbelievable technology. And it just allows athletes at the highest level to simulate reps and simulate different defensive patterns and actual experiences that they'll see in the game without having to take the physical element to their bodies. So instead of a quarterback going through all these reps in a regular practice and potentially getting hit or sacked or knocked down and incurring physical harm, in a simulated reality using VR, they can take those reps and get a very virtual, very realistic experience without the physical harm or the physical grind to their bodies. So this is being utilized now at the NFL level because it does allow for workload management, and it does take away a lot of those physical elements that can cause injury in something like a practice. And another resource we wanted to share real quickly is called neurotrainer.com. We've been leaning on NeuroTrainer for a few months now. We're really big fans of it because it is incorporating all those different elements that we've talked about already. It's utilizing AI to provide instant feedback on the performance that you're providing. And then it's also creating that really deep, realistic virtual experience by wearing the headset. And we're going to show a quick example here before we go into these breakout rooms with an NHL goaltender for the Avalanche named Pavel Francouz. So Pavel came up to us back in January, and he was really interested in trying virtual reality for the first time to just keep his skills sharp while the Avs were on the All-Star break and had their bye week. So we're going to show you this quick video. It might be a little bit choppy, but we will provide this video in the follow-up email. And as you can see, we not only have Pavel going through the virtual reality, the NeuroTrainer program, but what's so great about VR is that you can actually cast what Pavel is seeing in virtual reality to a laptop or a mobile device. So as a coach, you can actually see the same thing he is seeing and get a better understanding of his skill set.
Boom.
So I won't go into detail about how NeuroTrainer actually works, but you kind of get the idea. Pavel's being challenged to react to these balls that are coming out of the wall. He's in a 300 season, a completely immersive environment, so it is very realistic. And he has to react as quickly as possible. And as a coach, I can watch through my computer screen and see what Pavel is seeing and really get a good idea of how he reacts to these different stimuli that's taking place through the NeuroTrainer program. And then one more VR kind of program that we wanted to share is called NetStars VR. This is one that's specific to ice hockey, but it's just a great example of how you can see this is the goalie coach for the University of Denver. He's got the headset on, and he's actually being forced to track pucks in this virtual reality, and he's really being challenged. You can see the smile on his face because it is such a cool, fun, engaging, and again, immersive experience that's going to take athletic development and training and coaching with all the great measurement and all the great feedback that it provides to the next level. So one thing we also wanted to make sure and share is with virtual reality, one of the great things that it can also do for your athletes and the relationships you have with the players that you're coaching is that it will provide this great social emotional learning component to it. So you really get a good sense of seeing and understanding what the athlete is going through when they're training in virtual reality. And virtual reality is great because there is this really great emotional component to it and a component of empathy as well. So that's really exciting to share with you as well, and something that you can look into as time goes on. So what we're going to do now, we're going to go into breakout rooms. There's going to be about 5 or 6 of you per room. And we're just going to take 5 quick minutes. I know we're going over time by about a few minutes, but I think it's okay. We had a lot of content we wanted to share. And in these breakout rooms, you're just going to share with the other people one piece of tech you've used this past season to train your athletes, and one piece of tech you would want to start using soon, and why you're excited to use it. And so we think this will lead to some great discussion in these breakout rooms. And we'll just give you guys about 5 minutes to chat and share, and then we'll come back and close this up.
All right,
So
you should
Mike,
be seeing an alert pop up here in a second. If you don't see a pop-up on your screen, click the Zoom toolbar on the bottom of your screen and click the participants icon, and that should prompt you to join a Zoom room.
and I'm going to jump into a room too. So we'll keep track of time here and we'll come back in about 5 minutes.
Yep.
Awesome. So we threw a lot of information at you guys. I apologize. We're going over by about 5 minutes here, but we definitely wanted to give you a chance to, discuss for a few minutes in those breakout rooms, some of the tech that you've been using. And the few rooms I went into, is just great to hear that there are some teachers, some educators that may not be coaches, but are still interested in learning about this technology, because again, it can provide great career paths for all your students that may or may not be athletes, but may just find an interest in the technology component. So we would really appreciate if you just took a quick 2 minutes to take this short survey on this session. These sessions are new for MSL Capita, so your feedback is really important and valuable to us as we continue to build more of these discussions and these presentations that we can share with the MindSpark Learning family. So I really appreciate it. And again, we have so many great resources on our online toolkit that you can visit on our website at any time. And myself, Mike, and Davis, who is the other director in the MSL Capita program, we're always available to answer your questions. Like I said, I know we threw a lot of content at you. We had to rush through some slides, but the great thing is that we're always available to discuss and help you guys problem solve with whatever challenges you're facing when it comes to integrating some of this technology into the classroom or into the coaching practices that, or whatever sport that you're coaching. So we really appreciate it. There's so much going on in the sports world right now, not just with athletic development and performance, but with fan engagement, especially right now with all of the professional sports on hold during COVID-19. We really are seeing this explosion of technology in sports, and it's really, really exciting because, again, like I said in one of the chat rooms, it's not just about creating athletes that will perform at the professional level. It's also the workforce development component. So sports isn't just about being the best athlete. It's also about being a learner and learning this technology that can create unbelievable career paths for all of your students, no matter how good of an athlete they may or may not be. So thank you guys so much. Really appreciate you taking the time to join us today and to take this short survey. And again, please feel free to reach out to me, Mike, or Davis Turner at any time. You can schedule 15-minute free consultations anytime during the week. And I'm happy to answer your questions and help give you more resources when it comes to sports technology. So thanks for joining, and we'll see you guys next time.